So welcome to another video about Fate Total War. A little fan project I decided to work a little bit more on because I was surprised to see all the positive comments on my previous video talking about what I thought Fate Apocrypha could be, which I called Fate Total War. First of all, I want to apologize because it became a little bit of a misunderstanding in the previous video, and that is solely on me because my English is pretty bad. Because when we were talking about how far off the events of Fate Zero, Fate Total War will take place, I didn't mean 50 years, I mean 15 I was talking about. So about 15-20 years after Fate Zero would this Fate Total War take place. Though I must admit it would be quite fun to see an old Shero and old Rin running around there with the rollators like, oh, I'm gonna kick your ass, Shero, like, no, too much. That would be quite dramatic in its own way. And as I mentioned in the previous video, is the free faction for if you come to church, so I'm gonna like this, it's a little faction there. So I decided to split it up and make a video talking about each faction per video, talking about the masters, about the servants, and about a little bit about the plot and all of that. I thought it would be quite fun, and as I mentioned, this is all a fan project. This is nothing that is real set in stone, and of course I myself is not very deep into the Fate lore, so I probably most likely butcher quite a bit of the lore NASA have created for this. So please bear with me because I try to avoid reading too much into Fate, mainly because I don't want to be spoiled about the stories and the animes I'm watching and reading all of that. So yes, let's go. Toshaka faction first. And the leader of this faction is of course Rin Tohsaka, that was chosen by the Grail as the Grand Master. And she have a strong bond with a mage. Man, I'm saying maze. It's not a maze, it's a mage. God damn it, Lana, get it right. The Mage Association. And in this faction we do have some familiar faces like Basset, El Malloy, Luvia, as well Fiend, that you maybe not really recognize because he appeared in Fate Apocrypha as one of the Masters of Red that we got to see like a few seconds mostly, sleeping. Yeah, and then there's two new characters, Cogwheel and Ivasha Hattori, that I will explain as I go through with each master here. So, we're gonna start with Rin Tohsaka, of course, being the Grand Master of the faction, and she had become quite the powerful mage, not only by her own natural ability, about her lineage, and all of these pieces, is also because she have gained quite a boost of the Grail itself. And that is something that all the Grandmasters gets from the Grail. Not only it is a burden of them for them, of course, but it also helps to produce even more mana, and in that way more power to each of the Grandmasters. Just like in Fate's Day Night, have Rin not the most set goal on what she want to wish for when she gets the Grail? However, by the time as she grew up with this piece of Grail within her, she have formed more and more a wish, because that wish is in a way pretty simple and something she doesn't tell to anyone because she feels ashamed of it and her pride as a magus, of course. And it is that she wants a child that will take on her lineage, bring it on, because she have been shown to not be able to carry any kids naturally. And of course, with being the last Toshaka, minus Sakura if you don't count her, is of course, that is a hard blow, because she doesn't want to be the one that is the last Toshaka that ends, that dies, not being able to carry on her lineage and her bloodline, everything, all of this. So that is one of her actually biggest wishes, however simple it might sound to be. And of course, that is her little secret. Though of course there is more other goals why she is doing this. This is just one of the many plots that driving her to do this. The other one is of course the pride to win the Grail, showing that the Toshaka have not fallen, the Toshaka is still strong, and that she will carry on this victory for the Mage Association. And now over to her servant. As you can see, I have left little marks on each character, so you get a hunch on what kind of servant they will get. And Rin Tohsaka get Archer. And what not Archer than Gilgamesh, because just like her father did she manage to summon one, if not the strongest mage, well not mage, archer that you can get. Is one tiny little problem, is that Gilgamesh is still alive. Because he got his wish through the Grail, so he's still active, so to speak, and not a normal kind of servant. So, what happened then? Well, I have a couple of ideas for that. That is, she gets an incomplete Gilgamesh, aka a much weaker one. That can either be an old man that is an old Gilgamesh simply that is weakened because of age and all of that. Secondly, it could be Kid Gilgamesh that we know and see from Fate Kaleid, that meaning that for her to get the real deal, does she pretty much need to have this Gilgamesh to absorb the one that is surviving, like something like that. That was just metaphorical. And of course, Gilgamesh is Gilgamesh, and yeah. Jumping over to the next one is Basset Macremitz, that we all know and love for being quite a strong, hard-headed lady. And being the #1 enforcer of the Mage Association, is Basset quite intense loyal to the association, because her loyalty rests there, not really with Rin, but as long as the Mage Association is working with Rin, she will work with her as well. And one thing is that she bonds more and more with El Meloy as well, with Rin, because she will go through lots of these thoughts like, where should I put my loyalty? Should I put it with the Mage Association, with Rin, with El Meloy? And she become more and more in struggle with all of these thoughts, making her a little bit in conflict with herself. And I thought that could be a very interesting thing, and also a little bit of a weakness to Basset that otherwise is hellish strong. We know that. And I thought it could be a fun and interesting thing to make her a little bit more human in that sense, and in that regard. And of her servant is of course the Lancer, the dog, the man, the myth, the legend, Cu Chulainn, that I felt like, first of all, it's this one time, hopefully, will we not have the Lance meme that poor Cu Chulainn die instantly or very horrid. Hopefully he survived quite a bit, and considering that he and Basset fight together is an insanely strong duo, I'm just saying. And we do know that. We've seen Cu Chulainn quite a bit, and we have seen Basset quite a bit, and it's gonna be a rough game there. And now, next up is my man, my guy, my dude, El Meloy, Sugliang, Weaver Velvet. Holy shit, how many names does he have? I don't care. Love Child have many names. And Weaver have grown old, of course. He is one of the few that is still alive after the events of Fate Zero. And that is one reason why he was picked as being a master of this, is that he had valuable information and knowledge from the previous war. And of course, he is a very knowledgeable magus, while not maybe in power, pure power with spells and all of this as Rin is, because Rin is a fucking natural phenomenon. That is El Meloy, very knowledgeable, of course, and having all of these little pieces, he definitely showed to be quite man. And of course, I thought of an interesting little thing with El Meloy and Basset getting a little bit more on friendly terms, so to speak. Wink, wink, nod, nod. You can take that however you want. And he will act a little bit as a middleman between Basset and Rin, because they are a bit both hard-headed, not always getting on the same line. Even if Basset is all about following orders, she's now, I feel like it's a bit of a spark between of stubbornness between Rin and Basset, and a different spark between Basset and El Meloy. Don't stop me, I make my own ships. And then of course we have El Meloy's servant, which is Rider. And who can that be if not only Miyamoto Musashi? You fell for that trap, didn't you? Well, while it might disappoint it's not Iskandar, don't you worry. There is a thing with this, because like one certain caster did summon a fake servant, have El Meloy done the same. You can say it is a bit of a gift from the previous Grail and the war that been, because obviously the Grail it's a bit weird in that sense. It have granted El Meloy a second servant Which the first one is the fake one, Miyamoto Musashi, that will most act like a decoy, and it being a bit, feel bad for Musashi though, but the idea is that it will hide the real rider, which is of course no one else than Iskandar, because I would love it so much to see El Meloy standing with Iskandar again, following his king through. I'm sorry, I can't handle all of that thoughts. So yes, that is El Meloy and Rider. The concept I had for him here is that he summoned this fake rider that is very, very weak and mostly for show. And Musashi, how to say it, is not happy for that. So Musashi, of course, despises El Meloy, but he's bound to not spill the beans, so to speak. And until he's ripped apart and show Iskandar appearing and surprise! Butt sex! And next up is Lady Titties, Luvia. Yeah, she is still a very strong rival to Rin. However, by time they also become friends, a bit of a frenemy, you know. They are still very strong rivals. They're trying to constantly outdo each other. And Rin is outdoing Luvia. So Luvia have a bit of this stubbornness and feeling like, damn it, I want to beat Rin. I want to be stronger than her and show that the Edelfelt house is strong. Though she's still strong, but she is a very competent mage, no doubt about it, but not at Luvia's level, Rin's level. However, she has something that Rin always wanted. We know the meme that Rin wanted Saber, never got Saber, but of course, Luvia did. And Luvia have now that as a tease point that, oh no, you summon an archer that is not even complete. Insert Luvia laughter there. And she summoned Saber Blackbeard. Yes, when I first thought of Blackbeard, it was even before I started to play Fate Grand Order. I didn't know he existed there. I was thinking Blackbeard as a saber, because using guns and sabers and all of that was part of a pirate and how I imagine Blackbeard would be in this, in Fate in general. So he is here as the class Saber, and well, taking how he is in the Fate Grand Order, I think we will have quite an interesting character and all of that with Luvia. So yeah, Blackbeard is here to join the fray, fighting with Luvia as master of the Toshaka faction. And now we have a character that you probably don't know too much about, and it is this man, Finn Vorsembren, that actually appeared in Fate Apocrypha. Yes, he was a master there in Team Red. However, as most of masters in Team Red, he pretty much just slept through the entire thing. And we didn't get to see much of him. However, I did read a little bit about him on the Fate Wikipedia. I tried to avoid reading all the stuff. I just wanted to read about this certain character. And Finn is an first class instructor. And I thought it would be interesting that he, of course, as many of the magus, want his family name to become big and strong. And when he got a catalyst for one servant, you could say that he kind of flipped the tables. Well, the Mages Association did it because they wanted a more prominent magus to summon this servant. However, Finn refused to let that piece go and summoned this servant by himself. So he is not very welcome in the association in that sense, and he is a little bit of a target. But he have Rin's protection, so to speak, that Rin said that he summoned the servant and he gonna be part of this faction in this group. And what server is it if not caster Merlin? Yes, this dude that no one knows about summoned Merlin. And yes, I thought it could be an interesting thing that he summoned an incredible powerful caster. And it will be a little bit like Fate, Stay Night, Shero, and Saber, that while Finn he's a decent mage, but he's not near either Luvia or Rin in power, and not knowledgeable as Cu Chulainn. However, I would say he's a bit of a middle in between all of these parts. But he summoned one incredible powerful caster that definitely will be one strong piece in this team. And then we have the two last characters that you haven't seen before. And the first one we're gonna talk about is Cogwheel. And you might wonder, what the fuck is a robot thing doing here? And yes, it is a robot thing. It's an actual OC I made quite a long time ago that is named Cogwheel. And I took the idea that magic by time had become weaker, as we have been you have been telling me that way back were magic way more powerful than it is today. And the Mage Association, while against it in the beginning, have a little group of scientists, magus, and all of these created these that they call the Cogwheel series. And Anne is one of the prototypes that have been shown to be the strongest. They're using combination of magecraft, golemcraft, and mechanics to create a powerful being of metal and steam that is powered as well by magic. And not only that, they have combined it with a very advanced AI. Unlike golems that is pretty simplistic, this one is way more sophisticated. And they have infused it with magical circuits and of course a generator that power up with mana that she can also share with her fellow mages that needs it. And while she can't use magic like, for example, Rin using crystals and all of that, she is an incredible powerful physical warrior, more like in line with Basset. Not boosting with magic, but rather just raw power, because she is quite a big robot. And her servant is Berserker, because there was also one particular reason why they made her the master. It is because this certain Berserker, there was no one that really could deal with it, because this Berserker is no one else than King Kong. You might be wondering why do I add King Kong into this? Because I thought it was actually an interesting thought that just came to me, and I decided I would love to see King Kong as a servant. And yes, King Kong is a fictional character, but there have been shown to be plenty of fictional characters appearing in Fate, because I'm pretty sure and feel that fictional characters, if the legends and stories are so strong, it pretty much could be a live character. And that's how I feel. So King Kong appears as a servant, as the Berserker, as this humongous gorilla that is literally like, and there's only one person that can calm him and control him, and it's Anne Cogwheel. And the fun fact is why her name is Anne is that in the original story with King Kong, the woman he kidnapped and climbed up to the New York skyscraper is a woman named Anne. And her AI is based much about this, and her voice is tried to emit what they think was fitting with this woman, and it seemed to have worked. And King Kong's noble phantasm is the King of Skull Island, as I want to call it, where it's a very simple noble phantasm. He grows way larger, way more powerful. It's simply a boost to his side. He pretty much go Primal Rage, aka Winston, but yeah, but much larger. So yes, that is Anne Cogwheel and King Kong, which I thought would be an interesting thing. I know, I don't know all the rules and laws about Fate, so please don't butcher me. This is just a little fan thing, which I think would be really interesting. And Anne herself, this plot dreaming her is that she wants to be human. She wants to become a human, because her AI is so advanced that she's been learning things constantly and realized that what is the meaning of her. However, she have not been talking about it. She's hiding that. She's playing pretty like she's a very simplistic robot, pretty much, because she know that if she showed too much humanity and start to question her creators, they will destroy her and reset her to a different robot, because they don't want that kind of thing to get the idea of, maybe I do have a free will, maybe I don't need to listen to these people. So she's trying to hide that, and that is what drives her in this fatal war. And last one is this man, Iwashi Hadori. Iwashi is based on one of my oldest Naruto OCs, Iwashi Tatami, that I felt like he could be an interesting character formed to this, and he is a dropout from the Clock Tower. He showed to be pretty good at being knowledge about magus and all of that. However, he didn't really have the interest in it, and by the time he failed his grades and was kicked out for being a failure and all of that. And instead, he continued with his dream of being a mangaka, where he created all sorts of stories. Most of them perverted. However, he was dragged into this Grail War for one reason. He was actually kidnapped by the Pentel brothers. That is a name that appears in Fate Apocrypha as two twins that appeared as red masters that pretty much as Fiend we never got to really see much about. However, these Pentel brothers kidnapped Iwashi because they was going to summon this servant, Hanzo Hattori. And what is not a strong catalyst by using a person that they know have links and is direct descended to Hanzo. So they thought by using Iwashi plus another catalyst to really get this, they thought if they sacrifice this guy, this useless magus, they could summon a powerful fucking Hanzo. And Hanzo is by legends a very powerful ninja that would take the role of assassin. However, Hanzo have his own pride, and when he was summoned by these two blokes that use his own descendants and trying to sacrifice him as some sort of pig, he killed these two guys. And instead he formed this bond and this contract with Iwashi. And Iwashi kind of like appeared at the clock tower like, hey guys, I summoned Hanzo. And okay, he doesn't do it openly. He is a bit smarter than that, but he appears talking about Rin about this, joining the group as the weakest magus. He's the weakest one as a warrior. He's very weak. I mean, he's not a good kind of warrior or anything like that, or magus. So he's probably the weakest link in the group by that. Though he's very dedicated to things, and he's trying to use this as a moment to write it down like, man, this is a great inspiration for a great story. Also, the thing is that when you're standing Iwashi and Hanzo beside each other, they are scary identical, and that is why Iwashi was a working catalyst for Hanzo, because no one had been so similar to Hanzo than Iwashi. The only difference is the hair colors pretty much, and Hanzo is a very stern, very proudful ninja. Though we can say that he had a similar soul as Iwashi, and also Blackbeard will of course love to join and talk with Iwashi. I mean, otakus gonna be otakus. So yes, this is what I had for now about the Toshaka faction of Fate Total War. It's not super much, but I think this was super fun to decide and work out a little bit. I could definitely go in more deeper about things, but decided this will be for now, showing a little bit of the characters, the servants and the masters of each faction, and soon there will be another video talk about the Master family and seeing how this is gonna be like. I'm really curious to see what your thought is. And of course, as I said, I know I probably breaking so many Fate rules, Nazu rules, and Nazu himself probably knock on my door and want to stab me with a pencil, but I felt what I think I learned from Fate and all of that along the way, so hopefully it's not too bad. So thank you for watching, see you later on, have a continued super great day.